I've got a lot to say, can't hold it in this time. Got no filter, I got no filter. 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 No filter, I got no filter.
Hey guys, so we have an official sponsor of the Paramotor Hangout. It's Uncle Steve's Shake. If you've ever had my cooking and you liked it, it's because of the seasonings I use from Uncle Steve's Shake. If you make an order and use the Paramotor Hangout in the order comment, you may just receive something extra thanks to Uncle Steve's Shake. Now, let's get on with the show. Welcome to Paramotor Hangout Tuesday nights. First time I got that right without having to say welcome to Tuesday night hangouts. I mean Paramotor Hangouts, which I just did. Dang it. So, Mr. Will, how's it going, sir?
It's going good. Tuesday night, right? And this would have been a really nice day to fly.
Oh, rub it in.
But instead, I'm spending it with you guys. No, I wasn't going to fly anyways, but I did notice it was a real pretty day. One, it has not been good weather for a good while now. So
we have been 30 plus miles an hour here. Which, by the way, if we were flying to the east or to the west coast, it would have been done in about 6.5 minutes.
Yeah.
Just so you know, it is blowing straight out of the east right to the west, and Scuba, I'll send you. Hold on, we need Scuba on here.
We have a taker.
Yeah, can you send Scuba the link?
Yeah.
We're going to teach him not to invite himself on here. We're about to learn him today. I will tell you, I went to the dentist today, which I'm not scared of anything except for the dentist. I'm not good with a dentist. I don't know what to tell you. I can go and sit 6-7 hours at a tattoo parlor and never think about it once, but just the thought of going to the dentist instantly puts me in panic mode. So yeah, I went to the dentist today, and I got a little bit of a tooth issue, which is, I don't know what's going on because it's a root canal, but now it's got some kind of infection or something in it. Now I got to go to a specialist. I'm not good. I'm not good. So I got home, started drinking about 1 o'clock. So I don't know about you guys on Tuesday night, but this guy right here is lit up, just so you know.
What's up, Mark?
Whole lot of nothing. Sorry that I'm late.
How's that ghost bed? Did you take it out and try it yet or what?
No, it's in the box. When I got home, I had 1 or 2 packages waiting on me.
I seen the picture.
As is usual right now.
That's pretty bad when Amazon drivers look for a tip because Mark feels bad about how much stuff he's ordered. I mean, it looks like there's like this whole gigantic pile of boxes. All for the new camper, right? Was that all for the new camper?
Yeah, it's all for the new camper, and we've had piles like that for a couple days, and we got about 5 or 6 things being delivered tomorrow.
Okay, so for those who don't know, Mark's wife really didn't care to go camping with him in the other camper. Mark just got a newer camper, and Joni said she would go camping with him and bought all the new stuff for the camper. The only thing that's old in that camper still is her husband.
Yeah, I knew where that was going.
You knew it was
And you are correct.
She has not found that in any Amazon category yet, and she's still looking.
I tell her now that she can't afford to keep me in the lifestyle I've grown accustomed to.
Yeah, right.
I had an attorney tell me that before, so my
If
turn.
it worked then, it'll work now.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my goodness. Man, Mark, I've already told you this, and I really am super excited that Joni wants to do all the stuff with you now. I'm super excited. And by all the stuff, I mean this one trip coming up.
Yeah, I booked we're gonna go for 2 weeks in October into November. We're gonna go see the leaves change. And so I started booking that trip this afternoon I booked the first place we're gonna stay up in Townsend, Tennessee, right outside of Gatlinburg.
Very nice, man. First of all, I've been with my wife. This year we've been together 30 years. We'll be married 28 years together. I absolutely hate leaving my house to go on a trip without my wife. I just love spending time with her. And I think if you're in a relationship, that should be a goal. In my opinion, doesn't happen for everybody. I understand life, work, all that stuff gets in the way. But really, I mean, my wife will tell you, I will leave here sad to go on a trip without her because she knows how much I love spending time with her. I think it's important that couples do something together, whether it's often or infrequent, but you guys definitely need to do something together. And I happen to like Joni a little bit more than Mark. So, you know, I just want them to stay together because I hate to tell Mark that he can't do the show no more because Joni's coming on.
That's reasonable. I understand that.
Scuba Steve.
Whoa, let me turn you down a little bit. There we go.
I was a little loud right then. I'm a little tipsy right now, just so you know.
Just a little bit. Okay, good. I haven't had any, so you're doing better than I am right now.
Now I know what she says. I mean, what? I haven't had it. All right, so Shane's about 7 hours into drinking, just so you guys know.
7 hours.
Dang, man. So 1 o'clock?
I started at 1 today.
And you got off work at 5?
No, I actually left work at 10:25 today, and went to the dentist. Was there at 11. I went to have lunch again. I left my dentist, went and had lunch with my wife because why? I enjoy hanging out with her. So we went had lunch. I actually picked her up and then dropped her off, and I tried to convince her she needs to come home with me, and she said no stranger danger and went back to work. I don't know what that meant, but it did happen.
Stranger danger.
That's actually a good topic about drinking and flying or doing whatever and flying. What's your feeling on that, Shane?
Well,
From a safety aspect.
let's not exclude drinking and smoking.
Yeah, it's other
things. So I have only one time. Actually, I can tell you this, God's honest truth. Only one time have I ever drank and drove. I was 16 or 17 years old. I was at a party, and someone did a donut in the front yard of this girl's house. And of course, all of us young guys thought we were going to go, fix this problem. And we got in my car, and I drove about 100 yards, hit a curb, ruined my tire, broke my A-frame on my car. I limped it back to the house. We went back to bed, blah, blah, blah. That was the only time I've ever drove drunk, ever. And I've only ever flown, and I will tell you this because I've always been perfectly honest with everybody. I've only ever flown drunk one time and did not realize it until I was in the air and was like, "Oh crap, I shouldn't be here." Like I didn't realize, and I shouldn't say when I say drunk. Like right now, I'm drunk, but you don't hear me slurring my words. What my definition of drunk is, I feel it and I feel good, but I'm not like falling down, whatever. Um, there, I could drink 3 or 4 beers and be perfectly fine because I drink 5 or 6 beers a night. So today I'm already on that, just so you know. But I did fly one time when I thought to myself, you shouldn't be in this situation. And I ended up flying long enough to where I felt like I was confident enough to land. And I tell you this honestly, and because it's no filter. And I landed, I went back to the camper, and I was kind of upset with myself because I did something that I didn't realize where I was at until after I took flight. So I'm not a big fan of it because it does take we're all responsible for what we do, and I literally was mad at myself or ashamed, whatever you want to say. But it didn't dawn on me because once I get into the mindset to go fly, like I everything about flying is in my head. Not hey, how do you feel? Not your emotions, whatever. And when I took flight, it wasn't until my feet left the ground and I got in my seat and I was like, oh, I shouldn't be here.
How'd that landing go?
That was fine. I mean, I flew for like over an hour just to make sure that everything went well.
Just to sober up a little bit before you
And
landed.
that's exactly what I did. I purposely flew longer than I planned and higher than I planned, only to sober up. And I tell everyone this to show honest and truthfulness on this channel. Um, I've never I've never lied on this channel ever, other than liking Will and Mark. I mean, it's clearly not true, but
The necessary evils.
yeah, you got to take the good with the bad. I'll let you guys choose who's who. But yeah, I have flown more uncomfortable. I don't. But see, you will never actually, honestly, ever see me drunk. Because once I get to the point where I'm like, ooh, I can't hold my head still. I just turn and go to the bedroom, and I'm in bed. Like I've had people
Right behind you, man.
dude. I
Called
have had.
remembering.
I didn't say I won't remember, but I've had 25 people at my house before in a big old party, and everybody's like, let's do shots. I'm like, I don't do shots. Shane did shots. Next thing you know, they're like, where'd Shane go? Chris is like, oh, he went to bed. I don't even have to go look for him. I already know he's in bed. And that's literally where I go. I'm out. Like as soon as I don't feel right, I'm gone.
Yeah, Tony, he says, how important do you think it is I guess, to have a good mindset before you fly? I think that's really a good question because I have never had a flight except for when I called you the other day. I said I had like one of the worst flights I've ever had. Remember?
Right?
Shane?
Yes.
But that was an anomaly. Most of the time when I fly, I land, I feel better, you know? So I guess if I'm just kind of bummed a little bit or I haven't had a real good day, nothing major, but just kind of a blah type of day, yeah, I'll fly because it's therapy for me. Where it gets dangerous is where I've got something that is so traumatic going on in my head and I can't really focus. And now I'm trying to divide my attention between that and safety and my pre-flight and my launch and traffic. That's where it gets really dangerous. So from a therapeutic side, yeah, I mean, if I'm having a blah day, yeah, I can fly just so long as it's not keeping me
I don't
from
know. I've
doing the
taken it where if I like blow a couple of launches or a couple launch attempts, if I get mad at myself, I'll just stop because if I get that kind of attitude going, I'm like, yeah, I don't want to fly like this. So I'll stop. I'm like, I'll fly another day. It's no big deal.
Yeah.
So Brian Waller says pre-flight includes mental check always. If you're not feeling it, don't force it. So I have a golden rule which I am 100% have stand behind for over 3 years now. If I fail 3 launches, I'm done. I am done. I don't care how perfect it is, whatever. I have not had 3 failed launches in a row, but I have been on my third launch going, just so you know, if you fail this, we're packing up and going over to the camper. And that, I get, for me personally, has kind of put myself in I guess, self checking, if you will. I'm like, okay, well, you know what to do. Let's do it. And I remember several times I have been on my third launch. I tighten the A lines up, take a step back, and go, this is it for you. If not, you're going to be one of those sitting over there. Like in my head, I'm working myself up, not in a negative, but just a check. I'm checking myself, if you will. And I've never had 3 launches in a row that have failed. I've come close.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Well, I mean,
I
go ahead, Mark.
I blew 2 launches at Mountain City. That maybe the first evening. Anyways, that was no big deal. I just packed it up and got a cocktail and watched everybody fly and had a good time.
Mountain City is a absolute beast. I mean that if you can launch even 50% of your flights without like 50-50 on failed launches and launches out of Mountain City, you're a pretty good pilot. Um, I was 60-40, I believe, at Mountain City. Uh,
Wow.
I even come close to absolutely destroying everything I got strapped to my back on one flight. And it was, I mean, that place is tough. The altitude, once it starts heating up, it changes even like you can get higher altitude. And I didn't go back this past year because well, I don't want to say I was scared. It wasn't that I was scared. I respect the place, but I wasn't prepared to put that much effort into launching. I'm from Florida. Don't take much effort here. You know what I mean? Like we got ocean breeze, and I don't know. I mean, I don't know anybody that can even do 2 failed launches here in Florida. Uh, I mean, and after. Anyways, Will, how you doing, sir?
Yeah, I'm doing. That was definitely, and you don't know this, and I didn't tell you this, Shane, but that third launch, if it didn't go good, I would not have. I would have packed it up.
Oh, and that would have been fun.
Yeah,
That would have.
I would have
That
just
would have.
packed it up. So I was really, really happy. And one thing, especially as a newer pilot, even not newer pilot, when you fail a launch, there's a real strong tendency to kind of hurry up. It's almost like you've got to speed up now because you failed a launch. And this is, I guess, talking just about myself. There's that kind of, okay, now I got to, kind of get in the air, and I failed a launch, so I'm behind. And when I get to that point, I know I'm in trouble because just underneath that is frustration, and that's what gets me in trouble. Is when I get frustrated, then I start making mistakes. But some of the mistakes could be something like not catching a loose leg strap, or it could be traumatic, right? So uh, this is the reason it's a good topic is we're coming into the flying season now, warmer weather. A lot of pilots don't fly through the winter enough to keep them current, to keep their skills honed. And so it's a good time to be thinking about stuff like this,
I have a very good explanation to what you just said, Will. If you look up on my live on my YouTube page and go down to Poker Run, which actually it says Poker Run. I just now noticed that instead of Run. 2020 live. This is 100% exactly what you're talking about. So I had Smart Car Brian walking out with me. This was at Wachula, Brian was in my head. Brian he's a very, very good self taught pilot. But when he gets in front of everybody, he has no confidence. And he was saying how he's afraid of messing up, blah, blah, blah.
Which
This-
one is it, Shane? I'll pull it up.
It is the Poker Ron, RON.
And it's
20
just under the videos
it's alive
live. Okay.
from 2 years ago. This is where I almost launched and ran into a back of a camper. So we were talking about messing up a failed launch. This was my very first event. It was a poker run. We were flying from Wauchula to Avon Park and back. And I told everybody for weeks, no matter what happened, I was going to stay live. And I did, up until the point of I had to go get some Yahoo who decided to leave after everyone decided to leave from Wauchula after everyone was leaving from Avon Park. So we're talking over an hour and a half later, this person's leaving and gets to Avon Park and is like, I can't fly back. The winds are too bad. We already knew this. That's why everybody left when they did. Anyways, I will be more than happy to share this. Oh, wait, I see two scubas. That's scary.
Yeah, that's terrible.
Can you see it?
I see the blank screen.
We see what we're looking at now is the YouTube video of the show right now.
Yes.
They're not showing it on the screen.
Let me look at the right screen. Yeah, I'm seeing.
All right, now we're back to all four of us. So this is very important to understand, and I'm going to tell you, I remember this day so vivid because I allowed somebody to get in my head. Now, if you notice, we're launching towards the campers. And I said to myself, as Brian's off to my right, there's one little mound of dirt that I allowed to, and it's right there in front. You literally see it right there, the dark spot in front of me. I said, just don't hit that spot. Don't hit that spot. And I ran right over that spot, which absolutely just...
It's really bad. Is it?
No, it's the video.
It
So
is.
watch. Here comes the camper.
Oh,
Don't worry.
Man.
Whoa.
Where's the wing? Where's the wing?
Oh, it goes right on the backside of the camper. 100% cover the backside. Jeff Dean comes over, helps me out. You'll see here in a second. Like, I'm so embarrassed right now. Like, I am mortally inside dying. I was like,
I'm glad
holy
you
crap.
stopped instead of trying to take that. You were headed for a bad wreck.
Well, yeah, she was actually making over easy eggs. If I'd have ran through there, they would have just been scrambled. But, I mean, you see my wing is on top of the camper.
Yeah.
Like, and from this point on, you were talking about feeling rushed. Okay, so I allowed myself to run my mouth about I'm going to cover this no matter what happens, which I do. I stayed true to my word. I just screwed up big time, and I'm still live. I could have easily ended that, took off, and then started a new live. So, and I had what's his Greg. All right. Anyways, I had some really big YouTube guys for paramotoring come on that live, talking in a chat or whatever. And I see those as a new pilot on my channel. You want to talk about more pressure than I know what to do with. And I fumbled this so bad, nonstop, the entire thing. And I did feel like I needed to rush. So then when we get to Avon Park, I get set up behind a pilot who takes off. And for whatever reason, there's 14, 15 guys behind me. I feel like I need to take off the second he takes off. Of course, his rotor catches my wing and screws that all up. So luckily, I had a bunch of people that were off to the side. They set my wing up, and I took off no problem. But this was just, at this point right here, Will, I am devastated. I feel rushed. I feel like I should have, honestly, probably just got back to my camper.
If you went about 3 more feet, you would have slid into the back of that camper.
No, and I share this with people because this is me. Like, this is honestly me.
Yeah.
Like, I screwed up, but I'm still running video. This is live. I could have easily killed this and been like, delete. No one
Right.
needs to see this. No, screw that. I have always been and will always be honest on this show and in life. I don't have anything to hide. I really, truly don't. I screwed up. Will, when you mentioned about feeling rushed, this came back to mind instantly because now there are people still launching behind or to the right of me as I'm walking over to the runway or closer to the runway because there's no campers over there.
Yeah.
By the way, we have Smart Car Brian, Jason Russell Smith, and a couple other people who all just said the night before, "Oh, you ain't got to worry about Shane. He never messes up a launch."
Yeah.
Don't think that wasn't running across. I see them in the air circling above me, and I'm just like, oh my God, like I've screwed up. And truthfully, with my experience I have now, if I was in that situation right now today, I would just pick that wing up and go back to my camper. I already know what the consequences are of rushing or feeling rushed. So if you are, there's nothing wrong with going back to your camper and sitting down and relaxing and just saying, tonight's not my night. I felt so rushed. My lines are knotted up at this point. I still don't know how that happened. We can run through it as it happens. Now
So
I have.
What was your first launch? You have your second launch on here too?
Yeah, no, the whole thing. This whole, I do end up launching the second time, but I end up having a riser. My line, somehow the lines got crossed. I had to figure out how to get the lines undone, and then I did launch. The second launch was no problem.
Okay. Well, and so I'm curious. You had some guys help you out, right, after the first failed launch.
Correct.
Okay. So did any of them, they were experienced pilots, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Any of them like say you're an idiot, you don't know what you're doing? Did they judge you? I mean, how did all that?
Nope. It was it was, hey, don't pull on that, and we don't want to tear your wing. It's caught on the corner of the trailer or the camper. You know, everything was fine. Once they're like, "You good?" I'm like, "Yes, I'm good." Which I really emotionally I wasn't, but physically I was. So I just cinched up my wing and brought it out to the next to the runway, away from all the campers. We had moved back as far back as we could on this field, which was still a short field. But like I said, everyone took off just fine, except for there was that little mound of dirt that in my head, I was just like, if you hit that, you're screwed. And of course, what did I do?
You pulled a bad wall or you aimed right for it, didn't you?
Yeah. Object fixation. I fixated on it. I literally ran right to it. And as soon as I put one foot on it, I knew right then I was done.
So this is your third attempt here or your second attempt?
Second.
Okay.
Now, when we get to Avon Park, this is only flight maybe, I don't even want to lie to you, maybe 30 or 35. And this is the first time I've flown with this many pilots. This is when I had my phone attached to my chest strap or my chest harness and would fly that way. Right now, I'm almost in tears happy that I did not fail that launch, because at that point I would have just waved everybody on to keep going and I would have just called it a day. Now, we were all supposed to fly together. Everybody was either faster, slower, or never looked back. Like, we just kind of got lost. If you look at the clouds, there is actually a storm front coming in behind us. So we took off heading to Avon Park. The storm front came in from Wauchula heading to Avon Park. So once we all landed at Avon Park and then refueled and launched to go back, we hit a bunch of crap. So if you fast forward to Avon Park, because nothing really happens here, we just kind of fly along. And actually tried cruise control for the first time on my PAP, and I got scared to death of it because it was throttled higher than I wanted, and I couldn't figure out how to get it off because I went into panic mode. So there's all kind of things to learn on this flight alone.
Okay, so if you're a new pilot and you're kind of in the same situation where you're flying with other people or you're going to fly with a group of people and you're feeling pressure because you didn't launch and they're all up waiting for you, how could you keep that from becoming an issue? I mean, could you come up with a plan? Say, hey, if I don't launch on the first try, just go on without me.
Whoa! Almost died.
What was that?
That was my green screen that fell behind me, and now there's a brown screen in my pants.
So what could you have done differently?
Man, so, and I tell Brian to this day, Brian has gotten me a couple times with his, I don't know what you want to call it, his not having confidence or whatever. Brian is a damn good pilot. So for him to go, oh my God, everyone's watching, who cares? Just once you've hooked in, it's only you and the wing at that point. So, anyways, this is coming. I don't know how to answer that, Will. I screwed this all up. I should have gone back to my camper, to be perfectly honest with you. But I wanted to do this so bad. I've never flown from one place to another and landed. So now that's we have Krista and Rachel and Violet in my truck with the extra gas. I've seen everybody land. I've flown this field for 33 flights when I went to school there. So I knew the area pretty well. And I came in and landed. And then all the landing and everything went fine. Now I'm in front of all these people, plus Lauren and Shannon Michaels, who I went to school and they taught me. So let me tell you the pressure that became. Now we're in a different level of pressure, okay? Because I just wanted to prove to them that I was a good pilot because I really didn't feel that I was a good student for kiting. Once I got the motor on my back, I was fine. The kiting thing I was horrible at, which I've expressed to everyone multiple times. So I land here, boop, and then if you can kind of fast forward up to we go get our cards because we're playing poker or doing poker. It is called a poker run. So scurry on past this part. Again, I stayed live the entire time. So win or lose, crash, burn, whatever, we were live. And keep going. Until we get into the lineup with everybody's. So we're right in there, Will. Right in. Oh, go back. Right there. Let's do that right there. Let me see where we're at. Okay, so all the pilots, we were lined up in a row. So that pilot just took off. And if I'm going, then I think there's a pilot to the left of me. I haven't seen this video in years because it's a embarrassing photo or video. Like I say that, but as a learning experience. I'm sharing this because it truly is a learning experience. So there are a dozen guys standing behind me with their motors. They're hooked in. Everyone's ready to go. You want to talk about pressure? Everyone behind me is waiting to go. If you screw up, what do? You know what I mean? Like this never even crossed my mind. I never even
get back in line. I mean, I'm with Will. I don't, I haven't seen any other pilots like ever down you, like, oh, you suck, blah, blah, blah. It's never been that way. Everybody tries to help each other out.
So instantly, watch this. Instantly, look at all the guys behind me. Those guys are all ready to go. They're all ready to go. Now these guys come over, snatch the wing over. I'm like, they help me get it around, so I'm ready to do a front launch, a forward launch, and I mean, thank God, because if they weren't, I would have scooted over there. I would have been tough. Meanwhile, my teacher or my two teachers are standing there watching me, and I was mortified. More so than the guy standing behind me ready to launch. I'm like, oh my God. So this one, I told myself, breathe, screw the rushing, screw the all the stuff you're worried about. Go through the steps. And I heard Lauren tell me right now, walk out, feel your lines, take a step back, take a deep breath, do your little hop, take off, and that's exactly what I did, and everything worked out great. I actually ended up doing a foot drag right here, just not very long, and it worked out great. I actually crossed the runway here or the taxi, and I was just like, "Oops, my bad." Like I didn't even think about that until after I turned. So yeah, we do need to remember where we're flying and how we're flying, and what to look out for.
Well, my point kind of is, and this is awesome, man, because there's someone listening now that probably has 30 flights or fewer, and they're considering doing, flying or flying with a group of people. But the more and the most experienced pilots, have all been there. They know what it's like to have 30 flights. I know what it's like to fail launches. Every one of them fails launches, even now.
Oh yeah,
So
yeah.
it's just it's kind of like oh man, I don't know how that feels. Let me help that guy, and then it becomes a mission. Okay, let's get this guy in the air, and someone will do the same thing for me. And so the only thing I could say is if you can't control the pressure, then to remove the thing that's causing the pressure.
Correct. Which, for me, is Brian's, which is Smart Car Brian. I've told him 100 times. He'll start to say something as we're walking out in the field. I'm like, "Shut up." I don't want. I want you to ask him when we go to the holler at the Waller. Ask him. I tell him all the time, "Shut up. I don't want to hear your mouth." Because
I'm gonna make him nervous as heck, man. I want to.
This right here, this video is the reason I tell him to shut up. And I can't blame him because I allowed him to get into my head. But this video is the reason why I tell Brian as we're walking out to shut up. Next thing I know, I have a failed launch. He's doing a water foot drag like a professional across the lake. And he's like, "Oh my God, I was so nervous." I wasn't until you started talking, bro.
And for me, if I fail to launch, I don't. There's almost nobody that I want setting my wing back up for me. Because then you are rushing. You're rushing to get in there. You're rushing for somebody else to lay the wing out. For me, I want to unclip, ball the wing back up, and start over. For me personally.
And I agree with you to a certain point. But if you have someone lay your wing out and you look and go, "That's exactly how I would do it," why would you not continue forward?
Yeah. I mean, it also depends on who that person is who's laying out the wing, and so.
Yeah, if it's Will setting Mark's wing up, I would be totally trusting it. But
So long as it wasn't your wing, right?
Yeah, no, if it's me setting Mark's wing up, he should be concerned.
I set up my wing and you redid it.
Hey, I rolled that thing up like a burrito, and I'm telling you right now, I thought it was the most funniest thing in the world until I seen Mark put his head down. He already had his motor on his back. It was running. He was heading out to his wing, and I flew over and just goosed it and rolled his wing that he had perfectly laid out. And I see Mark walking out, and he sees his wing rolled up. He looks up at me, puts his head down, turns, and starts taking his motor off. I wish I had video of this. I was like, "Ha ha ha!" I really do feel bad now.
That's awesome.
Oh,
you turned it into the second biggest spliff at that fly-in.
Shane, I don't want to change the subject, but somebody wants to know, how can they make a donation to the fly-in event? Do you have a way for somebody to make it?
Okay, so I'm going to start not a GoFundMe, but a PayPal thing here shortly. So PayPal takes a bunch of money. GoFundMe takes a bunch of money. I don't really know how to get around it, but I do greatly appreciate the thought. Right now I have not got that far. I am so busy with trying to make all the things connect dots for this fly-in that I don't know how to even do that. I know Sean said something last night, but uh, I mean, I don't know. I
Okay.
let me work on it.
Yeah.
Give me till next Tuesday, and I will have something. Right now, I just have had so much dumped on my plate the last couple of days, or actually last month or so, and it has been just overwhelming. I actually had the school call me today and asked me about the other $250, and I went ahead and told them to hold off on that until next year because one, I'm not asking for donations, and two, I want if anybody's giving money, I want them to get something in return, as much as or if close to what I'm getting out of this fly-in. Meaning, you guys can come fly, you pay to fly, you have a great time. That's worth it. To just donate, other than feeling good, which is great, I get it. I just donated Steve on the other what's it? Yeah, it was your channel
Yeah.
um, the other night.
Appreciate
Um,
that.
yeah, no, I feel totally horrible for that guy, and I just
Yeah.
want $20 is not much, but you know what? 10 people donating $20 is a big
Right.
difference.
It adds up, sure.
Trust me, when my
I got
son
a
was going,
question.
go ahead, go ahead.
Paramotor question, because all of y'all have flown way more than I have. And my last flight had me wondering, and I'm thinking, because they're like, hey, get the motor up higher on your back so it's not as heavy. So I would cinch it up. So, but what happened was, now I don't know if my leg straps were too loose or too tight, but when I got in the air, I was still hanging. When I went to get in my seat, it took everything I had to get up high enough to get into my seat. So were they too tight? Were they too loose? What was the issue, you think? For me, I mean, I was pulling and trying to jump up into my seat. I couldn't get in it. It took me a good 30, 45 seconds to get up in my seat finally.
How tight were your shoulder straps?
The shoulder straps were pretty tight. That was the whole thing. They were like, oh, you need to get the motor up higher on your back so it doesn't feel so heavy. So I kept getting it tighter. I would jump and pull the straps and jump and pull until it was, way up. But I think it moved my butt seat up too high up towards my back. So when I tried to get in, I had to get up really high to get in the seat. And that's not good.
Hey, real quick, not to change subject, we're going to go right back to this. But James Bevel, if you can get with Sean and get my information from Sean, we'll talk about the vinyl decals because that is so amazing that you're willing to do that. I greatly appreciate
That's
it.
awesome. Yeah.
So Steve, I have changed a few things on my harness and couldn't get back in my seat. Like I literally was hanging for 10 minutes going, why can I not get in my seat? And when it comes to upper body strength, believe it or not, this fat guy has a lot of it. So I couldn't get in my seat. And then when I'm talking after I wiggled, like my wife putting on a pair of jeans for Saturday night, I finally got in my seat and I could not figure out why. And I put everything back. And the next flight, I literally slid in my seat and I was like, so what changes? I don't understand it. I don't know what changes you change the chest straps and the shoulder straps, but is there adjustment for your legs or where your seat is? Is there an adjustment on your seat?
There's an adjustment for the very end of the seat, which I come to find out later after I was in the air. But the more you tighten up your shoulder straps, the higher the seat plate goes up.
Yep.
So I was at a point to where I think when I took off, my seat plate was so high that I couldn't just jump back into my seat. I had to lift as hard as I could to get up high enough to get it. And then I'm like, I feel like I'm falling out of my seat. And it was because of those two little rings you got to pull on the front of your seat to bring that flap out.
Yep.
And then I was comfortable. But I mean, I didn't get that until I was in the air for like 10 minutes. And I'm like, oh, I pulled those up. I'm like, okay, I'm good now. But yeah, I need to check my plate before I take off because I don't want to have to struggle like that to get in the seat again. That was terrible.
Yeah.
Hey, Will, can you do this one real quick? It's on the screen.
Can someone post a link for Steve's seasoning? Shane promotes.
Oh,
Yeah.
UncleSteveShake.com. But yeah, if we can. Honestly,
Hey,
Steve.
Scoop,
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead, Mark. Go ahead.
when you're standing there with the motor on your back, can you like just slide your hand in between the front of your thigh and the leg strap?
see, that's another good question. I have since adjusted it to where my hand will fit in the strap, but not like overly loose. I just want it just enough. But the seat was, it's really hard. I'll adjust that, but my seat was up too high.
Yeah,
It's like
yeah, I
above
agree.
my,
I think that's where the problem is just having it up too high on your back.
yeah.
Um, I mean, on mine, all I do, mine was set up by my instructor, and literally I just pick my knees up and it just flips me right in there.
That would be
Just super
awesome.
simple.
Not me.
I was only doing that because the motor was feeling too heavy. And they're like, "Oh, if you get the motor higher, it won't feel so heavy," which does work, but it also makes it a lot more work to get in your seat once you get in the air. So,
And
I,
if you could get it set up on like a hang check
yeah.
anywhere, and just get it up, and then just do that with lifting your knees until you get it back adjusted right.
Yeah, I think that's actually what I did. I haven't flown since I've adjusted it, but so we'll find out next time I go to fly, which should be really soon, hopefully. And
I always have to I always park my left brake and then take my left hand in and slide the seat under me to scoop in. I have done that from day one, and I've never changed anything because I'm perfectly fine with it. Uh, but I like Mark's talking about. You just like lift your legs and the seat goes in underneath you. Never, never. I always
never.
have.
Wow.
No, I've had to lift myself up off of my like use my seat and push up, and then like push it forward and it slides in. It does. It happens really quick. There's not an issue with it. That's why I haven't tried to bother to change it because it works for me and I don't have an issue. But I did change some things on my harness and I couldn't get. I parked my brake and my throttle. Meanwhile, I'm at 700 feet, still hanging from my harness. Parked both my throttle and my other brake, and literally lift myself up to get myself in that harness. And I'm like, this. I don't understand what happened. And went back, landed, put everything back the way it went, and never had a problem with it.
You
Do
know
you have
the
Power Comfort? Is that what you fly?
um,
The
I'm
Dudek
in
Power
a
Comfort?
I'm in a good lord, Fly Products rider. I don't know. I think that's closest thing to the comfort seat there is. So I don't know.
Okay. Well, they should have a manual for that harness, and it
Hmm.
is they're more configurable than most people realize.
Yeah, there's a lot of adjustments on it for sure.
Yeah. So I mean, Shane, you make it. I always try to I put a fist. I can put a fist through is usually that's
On
what
what?
for me on my leg straps.
Your leg
Oh,
strap.
Yeah.
well, mine are set, and not because I have big legs, because I have chicken legs. Mine are set almost all the way out, and they're a bit. I don't know why I like it that way, but it puts me lower. So if you're to do, let's just say, a foot drag or come in for a landing, it puts the motor higher on your back, and now it does put the chest strap. It puts it a little higher on my chest instead of being here. It brings it up to almost my neck. So when I come in, it's not on my neck, but I do feel it like right at, I don't know what you want to
Mm.
call it, the trach, if you will.
Uh-huh.
And but it's been like that for almost day one, and I've never changed it because that's what I'm used to. I don't know if you noticed or not, but I have the same wife for almost 28 years now, I'm not good with change. So I'm just saying, if it works, keep going. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. No doubt.
She has no idea how much nice things I say about her online. Just so you know.
Which I didn't film one of my worst mistakes, which was I went to a field I've never flown from, and I guess I got in a hurry, and I grabbed my A's and flipped everything back. I went to take off. Wing came up beautiful, and went to pull my brakes, and there was no brakes in my hand. So I was literally just doing the motion with no brakes. That was funny. And then I was like, yeah, I probably shouldn't fly right now because I forgot my brakes. That's
Oh
bad.
no, I forgot my throttle at Bad Apples. And it was morning, so I wasn't drinking or anything like that. I literally launched, started running, squeezed my hand. I'm like, oh, I turned and set the wing down. And I literally, it's in the video. I don't know which video it is for Bad Apples.
Oh, do you want that fixed?
Oh, no, it's all right, baby. Yeah, we went from green screen to brown screen when it scared the shoot out of me.
Oh, shoot.
Just so you know. And no, it's in my video. Again, I could have taken that out. No one would have ever have known. As far as anybody on the sideline seeing, I just maybe didn't think I had a proper inflation. No, it was perfect. But yeah, I laid it down and then took off after with it. And that is the same Bad Apples that in the morning I launched. I'm foot dragging, heading towards the campers. I add a little right brake. And as I'm foot dragging, turning, I look up and see Lauren and Shannon Michaels, who are my teachers, both give me thumbs up. That right there was the most greatest moment of my flying career when you get thumbs up from your teacher. Because we've all been to school and we all consider the people that are teaching us, we hold them at a higher standard. Most people consider their teachers at the higher standards of respect. And when I got that, I flew that entire flight with the biggest smile on my face because literally that was the greatest moment.
So there were a couple of things, and actually I'm kind of going back through the chat now. Brian Waller wants to know if anyone else takes several deep breaths before they launch to calm their nerves, and he was taught that in training. And I do that. I don't take several. I take one deep breath just to relax myself, and that really works. I mean, it helps kind of get you centered and focused, and
Says the two skinny guys. For the heavier set guy, I don't have a choice but to take a couple extra breaths.
Well, you can't take the extra breath to increase your weight, so you gotta.
Listen, I have walked out there and was like,
it's like one big deep breath.
And I'm
I'm
like,
doing that as soon as I put the motor on my back.
hey, I'm telling the truth, man. I walk out there, I hook in, and I stretch my lines out, take a step back, and I'm like, holy crap.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you just run for 10 seconds, we could fly for an hour. Just so you know, let's make it happen. That is my pep talk. I'm like, come on, fat guy, let's do it.
And James, and I try to do this too. So he's saying I've learned to put 100% of effort in a perfect setup for better results. If I half-ass the setup, I sometimes pay the consequences of a failed launch. Yeah, that's true. I mean, can't argue with that.
Okay, so between Mark and Will, your guys' wing layout compared to mine is what?
You kind of just throw your wing out and go.
Yeah,
Really?
Me, I iron it out, make sure there's no wrinkles anywhere, and
Will's out there with an iron, getting all the wrinkles out. I literally see the leading edge, and I'm like, golden. That thing could be rolled up underneath itself. As long as I see the leading edge, I'm like, golden. And I take off consistently. Out of, I would say, and I'm, God dang it, I don't toot my own horn, but literally out of 30 launches, 28, 29 of them are a go.
Yeah, I agree, but I also think it has something to do with the wing you fly.
I'm not changing it, so you guys just suck. I'm just kidding. No, I love my wing. would like, if I was to get a new wing, I think I'd just get one maybe in a 21 or 22 meter wing of the same wing. I have no complaints with it, none. And Mark, we're switching wings next time we fly at Waller's. We're switching wings.
You know,
Yeah, that's good.
I'm gonna let you lay out yours perfectly. And I'm gonna hook in and take off, and just leave you with my ball up crap and say, okay, handle it.
What wing do you have,
Yeah.
Mark?
APCO Lifty ZR
What size?
27.
27. Yeah, Shane.
Hey, we got Daddy Dutch in the house.
Will, Mark, Steve, and the bald guy.
Hey, hey, Daddy Dutch is really a short guy. He's just barely over 6'4" or 6'5".
Oh, short, huh?
Just a small feller. Mark, you could literally jump up and uppercut his kneecap. Just so you know.
I'm good with it. We gotta start somewhere.
Yeah, right. Yeah, he'll be down here for the race in Daytona, and I think next month maybe. Anyways, we're gonna meet up and spend a day together.
I've only flown 2 wings, but that Mac Charger 2 that I flew down there with Kyle, that was like an amazing wing. I should have bought that wing because I really like that wing.
I've heard good things about it. Absolutely.
I mean, compared to the wing I got now, which is a Class A wing, so I have to pull like down to my butt to turn. The Mac Charger, I was just barely pulling, man, and I would get a good, nice turn out of it. It was just more comfortable. I can't explain it. It felt solid. It flew faster.
Yeah, right.
Hey,
Yeah,
when
it
you
was
guys
definitely
are
faster.
trimmed out, do you have to really pull a lot harder on your toggles? I mean, I got my 2D steering tied in, but it takes a lot more input trimmed out to get mine to turn.
No.
I don't think so. I will think about that
I was
next time.
trimmed in, and I still could. I'm pulling way down to turn. I'd say at least a foot before I can start to feel the turn.
Sounds to me like you might need how before I say what I'm about to say. How is your landings when you flare?
They
Are you-
suck.
Are you coming in fast?
Very slow.
Oh,
You need speed.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know.
Gotta have speed.
The problem with that Class A is they kind of got the trims set. You can't move but just a little bit. So I'm going to try to pull it out as much as I can. But the only way I can get more out of it is to take that off. And I don't think you're supposed to do that to that wing. So
No. And also, have you had your brake length checked?
no, I have not.
that's
Which
what I
I
was
thought
gonna.
about changing that too.
Yeah, on my Charger, I had to shorten the brakes. And
Yep.
they came way too long from the factory for whatever reason. You know, it was just kind of
Yeah.
another thing at that time. I don't know if the Charger 2 is the same. But
When I started,
I know.
when I started flying, I had no issues with flaring on landing. It was fine. As time went, within that first year, I was running absolutely as hard as I could on every landing, and I'm talking burying the brakes early, which James Parker pointed out at one of the times we were flying together. He's like, "Oh, you're braking way too early," because I was so used to burying the brakes just to get enough to slow down enough to land, and then I had Shannon when she did my wing inspection. I had her shorten it, I think 3.5 inches, and DP was actually at he was in class or whatever, and I first time I flown with the brakes shortened, I barely touched the brakes and I was up off the ground 15 feet, and I was like, oh, and then I get up to like almost 500 feet, and I barely pulled the brakes and I almost did a wing over. I was like, holy crap! And then I ended up landing over by Dave. And then I got ready to take off again, and I was like, "Man, these brakes are like super touchy." And it was because I'd taken so much. I took, I think, 3.5 inches off my brakes because I literally was burying them to land, and I wasn't
Right.
getting anything in response. But if you're coming in slow,
Yeah.
that because you need that little flare at the end to kind of lift you and then stop you, if you will. You know, the whole.
No, I might have been doing 2 or 3 miles an hour just as I was. It's almost like I came down straight down instead of forward. I was coming down, and I've tried to flare, and I got down to my nipples, and there was nothing. And by the time I started to go even further, I was already on the ground. So,
Yeah.
just kind of need it, and then turtle.
If there was any other time that there was a phrase being "that's what she said," it started at your nipples and then went all the way down and then I hit the ground, nothing. That's what. Hey, listen, we're at the hour mark. I totally this show went by really quick. Anyways, let's do this real quick. Will, where can we meet you at? Online and whatever.
Online, willflyppg.com or search for Willfly on YouTube.
And Mark McElroy, where can we meet you?
Online at paralifeppg.com or on YouTube at paralifeppg.
Scuba Steve, you got a show going on anytime soon?
Every Friday, 8 to 10 Eastern. You can just go to paramotordude.com. That'll take you over to my YouTube channel.
And what is your show about on Friday nights?
My show is mainly about vaping, but we do some paramotor talk. And I have videos on there of me and my various paramotor mistakes, my face plant, my first launch, my little mini fly-in with Bill, which that's 3 long videos. Good luck watching those.
All right, guys, and you can find me on TikTok at ppgshane.com or on here at Never Trust a Skinny Chef Shane. We will see you guys next week. If you four just hold on 1 second, don't worry, Steve, I'm gonna be dancing. Don't worry about it. Every time on the intro and outro. Peace.
I've got a lot to say, can't hold it in this time.